Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you traverse sea and land to make a single proselyte, and when he becomes a proselyte, you make him twice as much a child of hell as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, if anyone swears by the temple, it is nothing. But if anyone swears by the gold of the temple, he is bound by his oath. You blind fools, for which is greater, the gold or the temple that has made the gold sacred? And you say, if anyone swears by the altar, it is nothing. But if anyone swears by the gift that is on the altar, he is bound by his oath. You blind men, for which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? So he who swears by the altar swears by it, and by everything on it. And he who swears by the temple swears by it, and by him who dwells in it. And he who swears by heaven swears by the throne of God, and by him who sits upon it.
It is this kind of thinking that lies behind the prohibition in James of making an oath at all. We're all familiar with childhood oaths: cross my heart, hope to die, you know, swear upon a stack of Bibles, all these things which we're familiar with. The problem with swearing that you're telling the truth now is the implication that if you hadn't sworn, you wouldn't have to tell the truth. And this psychology behind the oath is very clearly brought out in this particular passage, because Jesus even recognizes some people would say it makes a difference what you place your oath on. And they had made hair-splitting rules and interpretations that if a man said, I swear by the gold on the temple that what I'm telling you is the truth, that the gold on the temple doesn't count. You have to get a man to swear, I swear by the temple that what I'm telling you is true. That's got to be true. Jesus said, it's foolish, foolish. Which is more important, the gold or the temple that makes the gold holy? Talks about the altar the same way. You swear by the gift on the altar and it is not binding. You swear by the altar and it is binding. He said the altar sanctifies the gift. James tells us that our yea is to the yea and our nay, nay. Jesus tells the same thing. Swear not at all. Swear not at all. The fact of the matter is that a real Christian, if he says it, should be enough. I don't make a great thing of it personally, but I was raised in a church that was opposed to taking an oath, a non-juring position it's called sometimes. And I still to this day, when I have an option and it says on a document, I hereby solemnly swear, parenthesis, or I solemnly affirm, I scratch out the swearing. I solemnly affirm. I'm not in the habit of lying. I don't intend to tell a lie unless I swear that I'm not. A person should be honest without the oath. And that's the point that Jesus is particularly making here. And he's saying that a person that says it makes a difference what he swears by. He said, the person missed the point entirely. He said, if you swear by heaven, or I swear by the throne of God, you swear by the person who sits on the throne of God, and you've taken God's name in your oath. Let's read verse 23 down through verse 30.
Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you tithe mint and dill and cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the law, justice and mercy and faith. These you ought to have done without neglecting the others. You blind guides, straining out a gnat and swallowing a camel. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you cleanse the outside of the cup and of the plate, but inside they are full of extortion and rapacity. You blind guides, first cleanse the inside of the cup and of the plate, that the outside also may be clean. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but within they are full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness. So you also outwardly appear righteous to men, but within you are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you build the tombs of the prophets and adorn the monuments of the righteous, saying, If we had lived in the days of our fathers, we would not have taken part with them in the shedding of the blood of the prophets.
This is interesting here. These folks have been so careful about the doctrine of tithing that they go out into the mint bed in the garden. They pull up 1 stalk for God, 9 stalks for themselves. Over in the catnip bed for the cat, 1 for God, 9 for the cat. In the carrot patch, 1 carrot for God, 9 for themselves, see? Now, Jesus said there's nothing wrong with tithing down that far if you want to be that particular. Nothing wrong with this. But it's no substitute for more important things, such as the weightier matters of the law, justice, and mercy, and faith. The denomination to which I presently belong, only in very, very few areas, carries out the practice of the washing of feet. In fact, in some 30 years, I have only attended 1 such service here. But I was raised in another denomination in which this is their practice, to have a love feast, a common meal, communion, and the washing of feet. And I recall that when I'd become Pentecostal in my experience, I went back and visited one of the members of my father's former church. And he asked me, he said, do you practice foot washing in your church now? I said, well, a few places, not many. I said, a few. He said, it says in James, if a man breaks 1 law, he's broken the entire law. Now, he's long since dead and gone, so I'm not hurting anybody's feelings, but the fact of the matter is that this is a man who found fault with me because I didn't wash feet all the time, who in a fit of temper had beaten a horse that had balked, that was hitched to a mowing machine. He made the mistake of standing on the sickle side when he beat the horse. And when the horse finally went, he cut his leg off. Now, he didn't find any fault with himself for having lost his temper, but with me for not having washed feet as an external, formal audience. I'd be much more concerned about whether or not I was willing to wash feet inwardly, about my willingness to serve my brother. Now, Jesus said that there are a lot of little things that can be observed. It's good to observe them. But you should not allow these small, minute things to take the place of real righteousness. One of my colleagues in my own church some years ago compared our women to those of a sister denomination. At that particular time, their practice was to braid their hair and wear it across the top of their hair in a braid from this ear to this ear. And he said to me, I wish our women wore their hair that way so we could tell which one were Christians. And I thought in my heart, my beloved brother, if you can't tell away from a woman whether or not she's Christian or not without the way she braids her hair, you've got mighty slim evidence. Now, it's this type of emphasizing the non-essentials, to emphasize the inconsequential. Jesus said, take care of the